Hello YouTube, this is Skating for Satori, and today I wanted to give you a review on the 187 Killer Pro Wrist Guards that came out in 2025. But before doing so, I wanted to preface this video by stating that this video and review is unpaid and unsolicited by any of the brands that you see here. So the opinions are of my own. Also, all the product that you see here has been paid for with my own hard-earned money. And so I'll be giving you an honest review, and also from the perspective of a middle-aged skateboarder that does not skate at a high caliber, as I do need to go to work the next day. If I don't work, my family doesn't eat. Also, this video is not to debate whether people should wear or not wear wrist guards. I've worn them over the past 12 years and always glad that I had them on when I have taken a slam. And most importantly, I was able to either skate the next day or go to work the next day. So I will not be changing my opinion on wrist guards. I wear them by choice and will continue to do so. I'd also like to, offer my review or opinion on who made the best wrist guards for skateboarding. And without a doubt, that would be Wild Bill of Pro Design. Unfortunately, he passed away, I believe, in summer of 2023. And at this time, I'd like to continue to offer my continued condolences to him and his family. I hope that he is definitely in a better place, and that may he and his family find peace and solace. In early 2023, after many calls and also phone conversations, long phone conversations with Wild Bill, I was lucky enough to receive these two pairs here, and probably from one of the last few batches of PD wrist guards made by him. And as you can see here, these are almost 2 years old, used by my son. And yeah, they're a little bit worn, but also still in relatively good shape, as is the spoon. And then this pair remains unused. And we continue to cherish these, and I will continue to save these for my son. This is my pair. They are probably close to 10 years old, and yeah, they're a little bit more worn out. The cloth, the fabric is faded, but as you can see here, they're still holding up and still usable. So I think that not only the design of the wrist guard, but also the quality of the materials that he's selected, and the stitching was engineered to withstand the rigors of skateboarding by someone who truly understood skateboarding and the abuse that skateboarders were put their stuff through. There are also other, cheaper alternatives in the marketplace. So like 187 makes a cheaper version for about $20 with the thinner splint and just a little bit different materials than this. And those may work well for casual riders, but the splints are narrower, they're a little bit more flimsy, and the stitching and the fabric and materials will start to fall apart after a few weeks. There's also the Rekd Pro Wrist Guards. These are also very similar in design to Wild Bill's wrist guards, and these are made by a European company. And for a couple years, this was the only alternative to the PD wrist guards. So to give you a quick review of these wrist guards, there is a top Velcro fold over design for added support and custom fit, and one single bottom wide strap. This is very comfortable, allows for a custom fit, and then gives you flexibility of the finger and for finger and thumb movement. This also has a wider palm splint to disperse the energy if you do happen to slam. To give you an overall review, this is not a bad wrist guard for the money. I believe that they're about $27 from a website called skatepro.com. And through last year, I was buying these in bulk, buying about 4 or 5 pair at a time, because if you spend over $100, then you would get free shipping from Denmark. A quick check before making this video, the cost has gone up considerably. The wrist guards themselves are still $27, but now shipping is, if you do buy, like, say, one pair, it's $15, and then they tack on a tariff of $5. So just doing the quick math, that's about an additional 75% cost that's tacked on top of the product, so they end up being about $45. As far as build quality, this wrist guard does its job. It's saved me from slams, and then also I've gone skating and work the next day. The materials used are decent, but definitely not at the quality of Pro Design or the Killer 187 wrist guard. Also, the spoon is not as rigid and does have some flex to it. And over time, the area where the top of the wrist guard or the front of the wrist guard and the splint meet, it starts to wear through like this. And then also in other pads, this area, like the stitching and the cordura here, have also worn through. So each pair typically lasts about 2 to 3 months, riding 4 to 6 sessions a week. It is a decent wrist guard, but expect to replace them more often if you do happen to ride a lot. Moving on to the review of the Killer 187 Pro wrist guards. These guys came to market around April of 2025. And as you can see here, they're very, very similar in design to Pro Design. The design, the top strap, the bottom straps, and even the design of the splints and mounting of the splints are very, very similar. And so the design, dimensions, and measurements are nearly identical. So maybe before moving on to the actual review, let me say again that this review is purely from a paying consumer's and user's perspective, and also not to debate whether the design is the same or different from each other, and also whatever business arrangement exists or doesn't exist between Pro Design and Killer 187. That's between those guys, and that's none of my business. So to give you a review of these wrist guards, I found them to be very, very comfortable, very durable. I purchased these in May of 2025, and they have held up 4 to 6 sessions a week over the last 4 months. They do fit well. The straps definitely allow for a custom fit, and then you can secure one of the straps tighter for one part while a looser fit for another, and gives you movement in your fingers and thumbs. So just to give you an example, I like to secure this one tighter and this one a little bit looser, in that sometimes I do have to wear my Apple Watch to monitor my heart rate while I skate. The materials, for the price point of $46, I think that the materials used are of good quality. Could they have possibly used maybe more heavier duty materials in certain areas, such as like this palm area? Sure. But I think the cost would probably have gone up to the next price point, about maybe $75 or $90, if they used, heavy duty cordura or similar heavy duty fabric. The flip side of that is that, these are at a price point where you can replace them more easily once you feel that they've reached the point where you just want a fresh set, or instead of trying to keep them held together with duct tape. The spoon here is of very high quality. It may not be as rigid as the Pro Design spoon, but it definitely does the job. A nice hidden touch is that on the inside of the spoon there is some foam padding, and this further disperses and absorbs the energy and force of like an impact to the palm and wrist if you do happen to slam. Another nice touch is that the spoon is held in place with Velcro to keep it secure while riding. If I were to give an overly critical opinion or recommendation, that would be in this front palm area stitching here. And there is a wear point right here and right here. So it could possibly be reinforced a little bit more with heavier fabric, or like my Carhartt work pants, possibly maybe triple stitched in this high wear area. you're going to be grabbing your board while riding, or also just even holding it at the skate park. So it's just going to naturally wear in this area. To give you an overall review, I would recommend the Killer 187 Pro Wrist Guards. They're very comfortable, safe, affordable, durable, and at the present moment, they are the best overall wrist guards in the market right now to protect your wrists while skateboarding. So I'd like to thank you very much for watching this video, and hope to ride with you at the skate park. And as I always say, in skateboarding, get stoked, bring the stoke, and be the stoke. Thank you.